Welcome back to Lost Odyssey. So before we progress with the main story, we have 2 more dreams to watch. / read.
Sounds like fun.
Alright. So let's go to City of Numara. I have to go to... The next location is the Port of Numara, because we're about to enter into a big plot-heavy part stuff. So let's take a moment to catch up on 2 more dreams that we can get here in this city. Alright, if I remember correctly, it's somewhere here on Main Street. But first, let's check out this shop. Welcome, we have a wide selection to choose from, so please look around as much as you like. Okay. Typical.
How delicate.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
And a double cheeseburger.
Play GTA San Andreas, Drova.
Yeah, so then that's a San Andreas reference.
Oh!
I know that you only know one meme, but there are a couple.
Oh, Tio, way to assume. Jeez, I know plenty of memes from that. Goodness gracious. And also, I have played San Andreas, it's just been a while.
Yeah, I think if it is
so
for the hot lunches we made for us. If you need any more help, just give us a call. So basically, a couple talking to a friend of theirs, and this reminds Kaim of something.
Kaim recalls a memory that was locked deep within his heart. You know, out of all the GTA games, I'm surprised only one thought to use Samuel Jackson.
Well, Vice City used famous actors like Burt Reynolds and Ray Liotta. Anyway,
oh no, San Andreas had some heavy hitters. We had Samuel Jackson.
That was from a Weakling.
If you want Drova, Saints Row uses Keith David.
Once there was a woman who came from a foreign land to marry into an old family. Her husband was from a tiny village in the mountains, but he was working in a thriving harbor town abroad when he met and fell in love with her. At the time he asked her to marry him, his father in his own country collapsed and died. Being the eldest son in his family, the young man had no choice but to return to his homeland, taking her with him, of course.
Okay, I get the way they meant what they intend to, but the way it's actually paced in terms of phrasing, it almost feels like a reaction. Oh my god, there's someone to marry my daughter. I'm having a heart attack.
Oh, and by the way, your mother-in-law is coming to live with you.
Her name was Mina. This was not the name used by the woman of his homeland. Indeed, her name was not the only thing about her that was different. The color of her skin, hair, and eyes, and the language she spoke were all different. Had the young man's hometown been a harbor city where people of many different lands crossed paths, there would have been nothing unusual about this. In such places, there were any number of homes that welcomed foreign men and women into the family, generation after generation.
Uh-huh.
Indeed. However, you can imagine where this is going already. But this is about as deep as the country... Sorry, go ahead too. Sorry.
No, it's someone who's telling that to Kaim.
Sorry. This is about as deep in the country as you can get, the young man told Kaim, sighing on the night he made Mina his wife. Kaim had rushed here all the way from the arbor town in the far country to attend the wedding. At the banquet, the young man had given Kaim a look, and the two had slipped away from the festivities. They were standing in the garden, looking up at the night sky.
Ah, how beautiful and romantic.
What is this, a Makoto Shinkai movie now?
I don't know. There don't seem to be a fetish
died.
for trains and planes or, you know...
When the eldest son marries, his wishes are of no importance. What matters is family. The two families negotiate. The families negotiate the engagement, and the bride is chosen who is acceptable to the groom's parents. That's how it was with my parents, and my grandparents did the same.
I know what you mean.
Kaim said with a nod. Judging from the formal wedding ceremony, it was easy to imagine the highly conservative nature of the area, and just as easy to imagine that the relatives had not welcomed Mina into the family. So basically, they're all a bunch of racists. Gotcha.
Guess who's coming to dinner?
In-laws, am I right?
Yeah.
Also, why is there a comma in kind sentence?
Oh no, guys, it's the generic racist uncle coming around.
That's always gonna need to have him for Christmas.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Alex.
Kaim said to the young man. Yes? The old man answered, still looking up at the sky.
You're the only one who can protect Mina, you know.
I know that much, Kaim. Mina is a wonderful... sorry.
Mina is a wonderful girl.
Sorry. I know that too, of course. The three were good friends. Kaim and Alex and worked together offloading ships at the same pier. And also together they had often gone to the neighborhood where Mina worked in an outdoor stall. Even now, Kaim retains the bittersweet memory of Alex and Mina struggling to communicate in each other's languages.
And then Mina killed Alex.
The reason the letters and the words do a bit of a Winnie the Pooh thing and running around is to simulate the way Kaim is remembering this and usually into like with the wind.
I'm just trying to predict the most outlandish twist in this story.
You know, Kaim, Alex said that night under the sky, I think you sensed it too, but Mina was drawn less to me than to... Kaim cut him short. Never mind.
Never mind.
Oh boy.
He said with a pained smile. I think that's Alex saying that. Of course, Kaim knew how Mina felt, and it had responded to her feelings. She and Alex would not have been married here today, but Kaim had held back. Instead, he had urged Alex to pursue his love for Mina and help the two come face to face. He felt no regrets about having played the part of an unlikely Cupid for them. Destined to continue his never-ending journey, Kaim was unable to love Mina in return.
Yeah, Kaim, don't worry.
A soap opera.
I played Xenogears, so it wouldn't have ended well anyway.
Yep.
So this became a soap opera where Mina is obviously pining for Kaim instead.
This isn't going to be a cooking story, is it?
No, it's not. Kaim intentionally turned on Mina.
That's to happen.
Intentionally turned on Mina.
Unless he and Mina were banging on the side, but...
One of Alex's uncles stepped out of the house drunk.
Hey, Alex, what you doing?
Go ahead, Dwibs, sorry.
You go on, Dwibs.
Hey, Alex, what are you doing out here?
He growled.
The groom can't be absent for the reception.
Sure, I'll be right there, Alex said, turning towards his uncle. Kaim tapped him on his shoulder.
Make Mina happy, Alex.
Leave it to me, said Alex. Go ahead, Dwibs.
Come on,
said the uncle.
Hurry up. The groom's supposed to sit there the whole time. The entire family is here. We're gonna drink the night away.
He grabbed Alex's hand and dragged him back into the house. The man was all smiles with Alex, but when he glanced at Kaim, his borderline polite smile could not disguise the gleam of distrust in his eye of it for an outsider. Kaim was sure that he had noticed that same gleam, though perhaps not as openly displayed in eyes that alighted on Mina. So that was the kind of village to which Mina had come to as a bride.
You better make her happy, Alex.
Kaim called out again toward his friend's receding form.
I'm counting on you.
But now the uncle had his arm around Alex's shoulders, and he was noisily monopolizing his nephew's attention. Alex never heard those words from Kaim.
And those would be the last words Kaim would say to Alex before he died.
Oh, trust me, Jova. If only, as you're about to see.
Oh, this can only go well.
Usually.
God forbid this is anything like Ready or Not.
Oh well. Okay, moving on. It was 3 months later when Alex came to visit Kaim at work on the pier. I'm in town on a buying trip, so I thought I'd stop by to say hello, Alex announced. But judging from the fatigue evident on his friend's face, Kaim had a pretty good idea of his real reason for coming here. As casually as possible, Kaim asked,
What is Mina doing?
With a feeble smile, Alex replied, After the wedding, things happened.
Oh my god, they killed her!
Mina had been accepted neither as a member of the family nor as a resident of the village. There were too many differences in daily customs, in culture. But the one thing that made Mina too different for the tiny village was the brown color of her skin. Racism!
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Now they got a whole town full of... Okay, so this will be interesting as well, because you have been critical of the past of games that take racism to a massive extreme.
If only we could speak with the people. Mina's trying her best to learn our language, but my mother and other relatives make no attempt to learn hers. Not so much as a good morning or a thank you. They insist it's up to the daughter-in-law to do all the adapting. Still, Mina was working hard to draw closer to Alex's family and birthplace. She would be the first one to do out the fields in the morning, work without a break until the sun went down, and do sewing until late at night. She would try to talk to people in the local dialect that Alex had taught her, using gestures and body language, and she would apologize profusely with abject smiles whenever she failed to understand what they were saying. Kaim could easily imagine Mina going through these exertions, which made Alex's report all the more painful to him. They established earlier, Dibs, that it's a very conservative village, which is a thing.
Yep.
So.
Wow, the entire town being like that. Dibs,
for as much as it sucks to say so, there are entire countries like that.
Also, remember, Tolkien painted the Shire to be basically like that.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is possible for a community like that to be like that, especially a smaller one, since they probably don't have an overseeing government.
You should come and visit us now and then,
cut
Kaim.
that crap out.
Mina would love to see you too. Kaim responded vaguely with a silent nod. When Alex added, I want you to come and cheer her up, he said nothing in reply. What's wrong, Kaim? Are you angry?
I'm not going to visit.
Why not?
Promise me you'll make her happy, remember? We agreed that you're the only one who can do that.
But still.
Sorry, I haven't got the time for this. I had to get this ship loaded before it sails at sunset.
So in this
he wants to prevent a cuck.
So at this point in the chronology, he's working as in a port. With this curt dismissal, Kaim turned away and continued working. Alex stared at him from behind, looking frustrated and confused. Kaim could feel his friend's gaze on his back. Because he could feel it, he kept working with another backward glance. Eventually, Alex gave up and left. Neither man spoke words of farewell.
Why do I get the feeling someone's going to regret that?
Indeed. Alright, now if past Pedro will press A, maybe we can continue. There you go. A year after the wedding, Mina gave birth to a son. The boy had brown skin like his mother. He had just started crawling when Alex visited Kaim again. There was talk of a divorce, Alex said. There's nothing wrong with our relationship. Mina and I love each other, that's for certain, but my mother and the relatives say there is no way they can accept a brown-skinned child as their family heir. His existence supposedly arms the marriage prospects of my younger brother and sister too. So they want us to send the baby to Mina's family. It's gone that far.
Okay, dude, time to put your foot down with your family and threaten to leave with her then. Instead
More like
of
foot down, foot away, like go away from them.
Yeah.
That's my point, exactly.
Take your wife and child and haul ass.
I get it, they are family, but if they're gonna be like that, they are not worth hanging around.
Nope. Alex had lost a great deal of weight. He was obviously living with much pain every day, trapped as he was between family and Mina. None of this made sense to Kaim. However trapped Alex might be, as long as he was firm on what was important to him, he could be there could be only one answer to his family's demands, and he should be able to arrive at it without anguish or confusion. What we just said, yep. Unfortunately, as you're about to hear, Alex is basically a coward.
Unfortunately. And I get it. Like, turning your back on family, I thankfully have never had to consider that.
It's also possibly the fear of the unknown.
That too,
I know how strong you are, Alex sighed, speaking to Kaim's back as Kaim went on hoisting huge, snapping crates in silence. The longshoremen were all well paid for handling crates on their own, loads that it would take 3 ordinary men to lift. The daily wage was calculated by the number of loads each man lifted, so asking for help would result in a pay cut. For this reason, Kaim and the others never complained or asked for help. They would lift even the heaviest loads by themselves. Alex had been like that too. If someone nearby asked him, "Are you going to be okay with that?" he would be all the more determined to do on his own. Fine, fine, he would smile and gritting his teeth. He would lift a giant load. Okay, fine, I'll lift it for you.
Do you even lift, bro?
Yes.
You know, I wonder, is it going to turn out that this is the kid that we... Oh, wait, no, I think the kid we saw in Kaim's flashback was a
Remember, Drova, these are not
Alex, I'm starting to think that maybe in the long run, tying Mina down to a laugh in my village is just going to make her unhappy. My relatives said they'll support Mina and the baby, so it's not as if I'd be abandoning her or chasing her away. It's just that, for both our sakes, starting a new life... Having finished piling crates on deck, Kaim turned toward Alex for the first time. He was looking down at Alex on the pier.
And you're alright with that?
Uh-huh.
If you're convinced it's the right thing, then go ahead and do it. It's not for me to interfere.
Yeah, if you're so certain that that's the right thing to do, why exactly are you telling us all this, Alex?
Like, do you want Kaim to murder the family or something?
Alex's features distorted under the impact of Kaim's words. Kaim said nothing more, but went back to work. His anger and frustration were reaching at the boiling point. Alex had no idea that Mina had been writing to Kaim on occasion since shortly after the wedding. About the hardships she had been facing in the home of her husband's family, she said not a word. Instead, she would spell out how happy her current life was and declare repeatedly how much Alex loved her. Always the letters would end like this. I'm sure you too must be living happily, Kaim. No.
Oh God, she wants him.
Not to mention, Joe, as what Theo said, all of these dreams happened centuries ago. So the people, so the characters in these dreams are not even alive anymore. So.
There's also a reason why they don't even mention the name of the countries or the villages Kaim visit. There's a good chance they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Well, remember, I'm just speculating that I wonder if this is tied into that flashback we see of Kaim losing a kid.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forget if the kid was a boy or girl, though.
That's what the next big main story plot point is for, Jova. He had never answered Mina's letters. He felt certain that if he were to write to her, whether with words or with encouragement or comfort, or even playing along with her sad lies, something important that gave her spiritual support would snap into.
I was basically guessing that, this is build up for when she eventually comes to live with Kaim and then before the kid dies.
It's mostly Seth's dream that are more tied to the plot.
Come see the baby, Kaim, Alex pleaded. Mina would be thrilled if you do that. Instead of responding to Alex, Kaim called out to him from on deck.
See that crate over there? Can you lift it?
The crate near Alex was of the same size and weight as the one that Kaim had just loaded into the ship. In the old days, Alex would not have hesitated to carry it up to the ship, every muscle in his body shuddering. Now, however, Alex gave Kaim one timid glance and, smiling to hide his embarrassment, said only, "Not me." Kaim, you've got to come and see the baby.
The baby.
No,
I failed it.
Kaim said nothing more. He felt strongly that their long friendship had come to an end. Though in fact for Kaim, whose life would go on for all eternity, it had been nothing more than a momentary acquaintance.
You know, the sad thing about...
Again, another thing that Kaim and Freeran have in common. Go ahead.
You know, the sad thing about Metroid Other M is that game was doing stuff I did like, but of course the story had to ruin everything, but more on that at a more relevant time.
Kaim has been on his endless journey ever since. Now and then he thinks back to those bygone days. Both Alex and Mina long ago came to dwell among his innocent memories, the kind of memories that revive with a deep sense of bitterness. And they are not to this day. Alex made his third trip to see Kaim a year after the baby was born. Having wasted away to a mere shadow of his former self, Alex stared vacantly at Kaim, and his voice lacked all intonation as he announced Mina's death. She had killed herself. Hanged herself in the barn. Kaim was amazed at his own detachment as he took in Alex's words. Mina's letters had stopped coming several months earlier. Either she no longer needed to spin those sad little lies about being accepted by Alex's family and the townsfolk, or she had lost the strength to invent them anymore. In effect, it was the latter. Kaim was learning now. To the very end, she could not make everyone accept her. My mother, my family, or the town, Alex said tearfully. She was alone. Finally, to the very end. Without a word, Kaim punched Alex in the face. Alex seemed to know and accept the fact that the punch would be coming. He did well. He broke his promise to Kaim, didn't he?
Oh, he deserved that.
He did nothing
I was just saying whack.
He did nothing to resist or defend himself. The fist hit him full on and sent him sprawling in the road. Not to mention the fact that he even allowed this to happen, even though, like we've already established, he could have been a more braver and actually stopped this from happening.
Why?
Kaim demanded to know.
Why did you say she was all alone?
And when Alex righted himself, he smashed him in the face again. Alex began coughing violently and uncontrollably, and when he spat up a gob of blood, a broken back tooth came out with it. Kaim knew well enough that Alex had been suffering too, that he had been engaged in a desperate struggle to do something about being trapped between family and wife. Otherwise, he would never have wasted away so dramatically from the brawny young man he used to be. As well as he knew this, however, Kaim could not forgive him. He had promised, he had given his word, he would make Mina happy. He would protect her. Kaim could never forgive Alex for failing to make good on his oath.
Cowardice.
It was him versus an entire racist village.
Like we said,
Again,
in that case, take your wife and leave this horrible. If this quote unquote family of yours is like this, and they were never worth your time to begin with, in my opinion.
Or at the very least, he should have made an ultimatum to his core family that, okay, you don't accept my wife or my child?
Wiping the blood from his mouth and back of his hand, Alex dragged himself to his feet. I know how strong you are, he said to Kaim, as he had once before, but this time his words took on a far sadder tone. But let me tell you this, Kaim. My mother, my relatives, and the others, their way of looking things is completely crazy. To live in peace and quiet in the country, you have to follow the country's special rules. It just so happens that one of those rules was not to accept a bride like Mina. I was born and raised in that village, and I know the village code. I know it all too well, which is why I have been in such pain all these months. I'm a weakling, I suppose. In your eyes, I'm probably so weak you want to spit on me. So laugh at me, hit me, despise me if you want to. Come on, hit me again.
What about the kid?
Alex thrust his face at Kaim for more punishment, and Kaim threw another punch. This one landed squarely on his nose, and may have broken it. Alex crumpled to his knees. The blood that gushed from his nose was blacker than the blood from his mouth. Alex looked up at Kaim with a smile of self-derision. Mina should have been with you. That's what I think. If she had married you and not some weakling like me, she'd still be alive. With a wordless, strangled cry of rage, Kaim lunged at Alex, grabbing him by the collar and hoisting him to his feet.
Wow, emotions drawn out from Kaim. That's,
You'll see on later part, Drova, that, not always have been this repressed.
Another punch, and still another. Kaim was not planning to stop punching Alex. Now, though, with Kaim's hand still fastened to the front of his shirt, Alex looked straight at Kaim for the first time since coming to the dock. Why didn't you even answer Mina's letters? That's all she was hoping for. A letter from you. So he knew. Alex knew everything.
So not a direct cuck arc, but...
Well, it's more about... The story is kind of making a point that Alex cowardice was also partially... Well, in that, but it's... Also, Kaim is a bit guilty of this too.
It's terribly out there in the country. Anyone who wants to find out who wrote letters and who got them, everybody is out there as like family. Everybody but Mina, that is. If Alex had wanted to, he could have quashed Mina's letters easily. Then not one of her sad little lies would have reached Kaim. But instead, Alex had read the letters, resealed the envelopes, and sent them to Kaim one after another. He had internalized Mina's sad little lies, and started looking for Kaim's answers even before she did.
Like, the bulk of this is Alex's fault, but I do wonder if Kaim's
decision of not answering to Mina in any capacity because of his fear that it would have caused jealousy, partially caused these two.
Kaim stopped his fist in midair and asked,
"How could I possibly answer her?"
"Why not?" Alex retorted. "You knew how trapped she was feeling. You must have known how much encouragement one word from you could have given her."
"But you were Mina's husband."
"Yes, that's true. But you were always the one deepest in her heart. I knew that. And because I knew it, that was only one thing I could do." "No."
That couldn't be.
Like, the fault mostly relies on Alex, but I can see
still
why
rely on
Kaim
Alex.
feels some guilt.
It's more of a consequence and parallel more than anything. Kaim is blaming entirely Alex on this, but he's not realizing.
Astounded, Kaim lowered his fist as Alex said to him, "I wrote to her. I pretended I was you, and I wrote her letter after letter. Be strong, I told her. Keep your spirits up. I'll come see you soon. You're too strong, Kaim, so you can't understand the feelings of weak people. But I don't have that problem. I'm weak. I understood how a weakling like Mina felt." Alex cried, the blood streaming from his nose and mouth.
It is one advantage and disadvantage of Kaim's circumstance. Like, he can afford to take risks. He's immortal, but, most people aren't.
There is one thing I don't know, though, Kaim. I don't know whether Mina actually believed that the letters I wrote were from you, or whether she knew I was doing it and pretended to believe. I wonder, was life in my village so painful to her that she couldn't go on living there without pretending to believe? Kaim made no attempt to answer Alex's question. Slowly, he let the strength go out of his clenched fist and released his grip on Alex's shirt.
There's also going to be those situations similar to Dr. Manhattan, Jova. Kaim being immortal, also not realizing the dilation of time and everything, means that, a case like this where Mina will receive a letter that says, I'm going to see you soon and everything, means that, just slipping this away caused this much damage.
Alex drew a step back from him, then took another step, putting distance between them before his final revelation. There was one letter, just one, that I didn't send to you. That was 3 months ago. It was the first letter in which Mina begged you for help. She said she wanted to run away and asked you to come and save her as soon as possible, to rescue her and the baby. That was the letter Alex threw away. Posing as Kaim, he wrote a 2-word answer. Be strong. The day after she read the letter from Alex, Mina hanged herself in the barn. So basically, Alex.
It's still, like you said, Joe, it's still Alex's fault in the end.
So Alex has gone basically nuts because of consumed by self-blame
and guilt. Because Jesus, even if that wasn't what caused her to kill herself, that may have been one of the worst things to tell someone at that point.
Mm-hmm. Kaim stood rooted to the spot, crestfallen. This left him momentarily defenseless. Alex shot his fist at Kaim's solar plexus, though his feeble blow could hardly be called a punch. The pain it inflicted might have been greater for Alex's own fist than for Kaim's superbly conditioned muscles. What an idiot I was! Be strong! Such words might have meant something to somebody like you, but to burden a weak person like Mina with them, no. They could only break and crush her.
And you tried to punch Kaim for that. Why, son?
Well, at this point, Alex is basically just acting purely rambling and acting completely on instinct, like he's not even thinking at this point. Alex gave another tearful, self-disparaging smile and thrust his face toward Kaim. So hit me! I don't give a damn! Hit me all you want! Beat the hell out of me! But let me ask you this, Kaim. If I had sent her last letter to you, would you have finally answered that one? Would you have been able to accept Mina in all her weakness? Kaim did not know how to answer this question, nor did he raise a clenched fist to Alex again.
There is technically a way to answer that question. It was up to Kaim to decide, not you.
He instead punched Alex in the dick.
Jesus. So ended the story of Kaim and Alex. Hold on. There's actually an epilogue. Alex turned and walked away, but Kaim could not bring himself to call out to him. He simply stood there, drained of all emotion, and watched him go. Alex did, however, turn to face Kaim again when he had put enough distance between them so that Kaim could barely make out his voice. I can tell you this much, Kaim, he shouted. I'm going to raise that boy of mine. I'll make him into a man of my village. I may have been too weak to be a husband, but as a father, I'll do better. I'll make him happy. Kaim returned his words with a silent nod. Alex allowed the hint of a smile to show on his badly swollen face. He then turned on his heels once more and strode away. Kaim never saw Alex again, but we do have an epilogue after this.
He meets the sun, doesn't he?
Well, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I press A, thank you. Every now and then, Kaim remembers Alex and Mina as he proceeds on his endless long journey. When he thinks back on what he himself was like in those days, wanting only to be strong in all things, the memory is a bitter one. If only he had been the person he is today. The present-day Kaim would not have rejected such human weakness. Now he can accept the fact that sometimes with a pained smile, sometimes with genuine heartbreak, that everyone is... So there was a point where Kaim was not getting into any relationships because, he would reject human weakness, but at some point he stopped doing that, basically. If only he could begin his journey again. Mina might not have had to die. But this is no more than a hopeless dream. He meets them only once, and they are gone forever. The mortals, the humans, the ones without eternal life.
Oh, so he actually wants to help now.
This is what makes them all the more dear to him. This is what makes his breast burn for them. So this experience was actually life-changing for Kaim in particular. Aware now that he has failed to love human weakness throughout his battles and his wanderings, Kaim turns his steps toward Alex's old village. Alex himself, of course, is long since dead. But Alex's descendants he can tell at a glance. They have brown skin, Brown-skinned youths are the ones in charge of the village festivals. Brown-skinned old women teach girls how to weave floral decorations. Brown-skinned children and those who are not brown play together in all innocence, free of care. Perhaps this can comprise a tiny epilogue to the story of Alex, Kaim, and Mina. So basically all the racists died, and all that's left is,
People.
People.
The newer generation who were thankfully more progressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the same idea I get with the ending of Klaus in that regard, so good stuff.
The graves of Alex and Mina lie side by side atop a low, windswept hill. Kaim picks flowers from the field and offers them at a doomed couple's graves before returning to the road. What is human strength after all? Kaim still does not know the answer to this question. And this is why, again, today, his journey must go on. The end.
Easily one of the better stories.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Okay, I'll give him credit. This is probably one of the best ways to handle racism because they don't try and tiptoe around it. They also don't try to go too over the top about it. They're just pretty much.
I can't
blunt,
believe
plain
Lost
and
Odyssey
simple.
started being so political.
See, what helps is they're not being super pretentious about it or not trying to, hide from it or something. It's even if some people throw a stink about this, it is what it is, racism. And they're pretty blatant about the whole rejecting because of the brown skin and everything. So, yeah, no, good. But even outside of that, this plot in general was very well conducted. It's interesting. Arguably, it is one of the more devastating stories all the way through, and yet, ironically, in a sense, it feels like it's one of the experiences that changed Kaim's life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it came out of tragedy, but he certainly came out a better person for it. In fact, it seems also that Alex was finally able to keep his promise, since it seems like he did hold to raising a son well. And bonus points, he didn't take the coward's way out either. He saw to it that, be it one way or another, the village did also change for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Which also shows that change is possible. Maybe not in the ways that we expect, but ones that can eventually take a turn for the brighter here. Although one thing of this episode does get me thinking, because it does point out that Kaim remembers stuff. So this makes me actually wonder, did Kaim have all his memories at some point, but then at some point lost them all collectively? Or has he been gradually losing memories?
You
and
will
it's a
find
cycle?
your answer. You will find your answer to this question in a later part, Jova. But it's it's kind of important the way it's mentioned, so it's best to not tell yet.
Not to mention, Jova, it's a combination of one. When you live for as long as Kaim does, if eventually your memories start fading away because there's only so much information the human
This
brain
is also why
can contain.
scattered.
Yeah, not to mention.
Oh, sure, I can believe
Sorry.
that, but part of me does wonder if there is some secret trick behind his memories, since part of the point of the story has been him regaining those memories, but that makes me wonder, will he regain a memory but then lose another? Or again, is there something more to all this as he is regaining memories?
Sorry, I thought you were done.
Since one thing that I've noticed is none of the episodes have suggested that he was in the process of forgetting at any of these past points in his life. Now, maybe we will get a dream that suggests that he was forgetting, but one thing that seems to be consistent across these pasts is that he had his memories intact at that point, so I'm not sure what may have caused him to lose his memories. Maybe an immensely traumatic event that affected even him and an immortal. Or, again, maybe there's something more going on behind the amnesia.
Well, Jova, we already had a hint in a previous cutscene where Gongora gave Jensen a memory wiping orb, the one that we used to.
Pedro, how can you say that? He's such a trustworthy fellow.
Yeah, Pedro, Gongora is our friend.
Of course.
Could you honestly suspect him of being the reason behind the entire plot, including using that magical, mystical memory erasing thing, which we just saw pretty much obliviate a poor innocent guard into questioning what he even is or what he does, and may ruin his life for the rest of all of his being? to be the bad guy?
Yeah, basically. But on a more serious note, again, we don't know exactly the circumstances yet, but I think that particular scene where Gongor, if they start remembering shit, use this thing on them. I think that's a good enough hint of who exactly is behind Kaim's amnesia. So we'll figure. But don't worry, guys. That doesn't necessarily mean Gongora is evil. I mean, so of course
No,
not.
no. Look. If I know my Final Fantasy plots, it turns out Gongora is actually just being mind controlled by the true bad guy, who's actually being controlled by the true bad guy, who's being controlled by the darkness or whatever.
See you, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi.